you.
Those are the best games.
So, picks and bans. Blue team has Sivir and Thresh on bot lane, Wukong top, Jax in the jungle, and Zed mid. Bans were Vi, Leona, and LeBlanc. So, Vi is a very strong jungler. She can pretty much 100 to 0 most players, so that's a good ban. Leona, we see Leona dominating workshops a whole lot, so again, another good ban. And LeBlanc is an early game monster who just falls off late game, but just snowballs very easily. So I agree with all those bans for sure. And then purple team bans are Kha'Zix, Master Yi, and Ryze. They are all late game monsters who are very strong on the current meta. And they have Zyra and Varus on bot lane, Xin Zhao in the jungle, Swain mid, and Tryndamere top.
Swain is actually incredibly strong now, and the new heal really does help him because he can remove any sort of healing reductions on himself using it. It also gives him a move speed buff. It's just a very, very powerful skill for him. And with a lot of mid laners having been nerfed, and the remaining ones kind of relying on being able to jump in and kill someone, Swain can really abuse that and has a lot of really easily amplified strength in the current meta. I wouldn't go so far to say that he's overpowered, but he's definitely a strong pick.
The thing with Swain is, first of all, he has very slow movement speed. Second of all, his auto attack animation is atrocious. And third of all, his combo relies on him landing never move. But once you get rid of all of those weaknesses, he is just a beast. His sustained damage is through the roof. He has sustain out the butthole. And he can build really tanky and still do lots of damage. Someone is asking, what is a melee ADC? Yasuo, Fiora, and Tryndamere are the three melee ADCs right now.
There are other ones that can technically be played as a melee AD carry. Like, I know some people argue that Talon can be, but usually he's played as an AD caster. Basically, if your playstyle revolves around getting in range and auto-attacking a lot, then you're a melee AD carry, same as a ranged AD carry. You might use skills, but the main portion of your damage is coming from auto-attacks.
What would you consider Jace? A melee AD carry, a AD carry, or a caster?
He is an AD caster.
Yeah. He's definitely a AD caster, but he's so hard to quantify because he has so many options given his massive number of skills. He's still considered somewhat viable, but the whole point of his nerfs was basically take him out of play until we fix him. And honestly, he's still just fine. You just have to play him in certain matchups. You have to play him really well.
So, just talking about picks a little, Varus and Zyra are a very strong bottom line that fell out of the meta in Season 4, but at the end of Season 3, they were one of the most popular picks and saw a lot of tournament play. They have a lot of lockdown potential, but if you catch them out, they are dead. So they're both risky picks, especially against a Thresh, but when they pull off their combos correctly, they do so much damage, and with Zyra's disengage and Varus's ult, they can lock you down and murder you, assuming that you don't get them out first. Sivir and Thresh, Sivir has a lot of early game burst, and her spell shield means that she can sort of avoid a lot of the poke and harass from them, assuming she times it correctly. And if Thresh lands a hook on Zyra, she is in a world of trouble.
I wasn't really paying attention on the pick order, but I really like the Zyra pick into Sivir if that's what happened, because Zyra, since she has a lot of abilities, she can pop Sivir's shield really easily before landing her ult or even her snare. If she gets a Royalist Crystal Scepter, the attacks of her plants actually slow the enemy, so that's a pretty good pick for Sivir, I think.
It's also worth noting that plants do proc Spell Thief's Edge, so she can get a lot of gold if she's able to position and play safely. My only concern with that bot lane, of course, is, well, if Zyra misses roots, you've just left Thresh completely vulnerable to any sort of hard engage, and you are dealing with a Zed, Jax, Wukong, Thresh, all of whom are going to kind of be wanting to jump in on someone.
Wukong, as a top laner, speaking of Wukong, not sure how I feel about that. They just nerfed Wukong's Q, so the armor pen now takes a lot longer, and they nerfed his AD scaling on R. So that removed a lot of his potency as a top laner. Wukong used to be a one-man kill lane in that he would shred your armor and just come in at you crazy like. And he's still very strong in the jungle, but as a top laner, I worry that he will struggle against Tryndamere. That being said, Tryndamere is a late game bully and an early game paper tiger. So we'll see how that pans out. Xin Zhao is also a very strong pick right now due to the new Wriggles Feral Flare, so we'll see how he does.
I hate Xin Zhao. I always have. And I think a lot of it boils down to one of my friends I used to duo with back in like season 2. He loved Xin Zhao. And it was just one of those things where they keep nerfing him and then he'll come back. They'll give him some compensation or something. He'll be played every game for 3 or 4 months and then he'll completely disappear. And people forget how to play versus him. And his playstyle is just so annoying where he shows up and is like, well, I'm dead. I can't do anything.
Dude, I played when Xin Zhao came out. When Xin
Oh,
Zhao
that
came
was
out,
pathetic.
they called him Win Now. There would be guides like, how do you play against Xin Zhao? Don't ever fight him alone. In fact, don't ever fight him without your entire team there, and he's alone. Maybe just avoid him.
Ban him.
Exactly. Yeah, I've been a huge fan of solo lane Wukong, especially versus squishy picks. But with the armor debuff no longer being as strong early game, I just don't know how well he's going to be able to stack up, especially given that Tryndamere can play passive and just use his sustain.
So both teams are defending their jungler, and more importantly, they're defending the choke point. So Zed is watching to make sure that no purple team hooligans come down, and Varus and Zyra are both guarding the choke point to Zin's blue, while Swain waits to give a small leash. And I really appreciate the proactiveness of both teams defending their jungler.
I would like to comment, though, I'm surprised Zyra went for an ancient coin.
That seems to me as though she does not trust her plants to reliably go off. If she thinks that Sivir will boomerang blade them down before they can get the Spell Thief's Edge off, that might be her reasoning, but Spell Thief's Edge is so strong on her because she has so many offensive spells that I don't necessarily agree with that decision.
Yeah, personally, as a poke support, I would take the early Spell Thief's Edge, abuse it all through laning phase until maybe, say, 20 minutes into the game or something, and then you can sell it. It's already paid for itself 3 times over.
Zyra's positioning is also bothering me here, and I'll explain why. She is up front, and she's positioning like a blitzcrank. She does have her root, but she's Zyra. She's the squishiest support in the game. She's already taken a boomerang blade to the face. If she takes 2 or 3 more, she is out of lane. If she gets hooked, she's dead. She needs to be positioning more like a Sona than a blitzcrank or Leona.
Especially until you get those plants and can do significant damage over time.
I actually saw there was an AMA from a Diamond 1 Zyra main, and he said he starts with Seed, and he does that so he can set up traps, little seeds, and then at level 2 turn them into whatever plant is necessary to get the kill. I don't know if I agree with that, but it's an intriguing idea.
It's an option because your level 1 is so bad. You may as well just offer vision at that point and just hide. We see
So
Jax coming up
Zyra-
for a gank. That was a very aggressive flash stun. I don't think it's really going to turn into anything here.
So Tryndamere does get away, but he is at under half health. He's drinking a potion, but he will be at a disadvantage against Wukong. Xin Zhao's coming up, trying to dance around for the counter gank. Blue team does not know he's there, so the skirmish might break out shortly.
If I were Xin, I would be walking into the lane bushes there. Instead, he's just sort of dancing around. You do have to keep in mind, though, that Tryndamere does have built-in sustain. Oh, these flashes.
So on top lane, skirmish did break out, and Xin Zhao's going to go down 2 Jax. Tryndamere is at low health, Jax is following him, he has red buff, and it looks like he will not pick up the kill, but
Red
just
buff
force Tryndamere out of lane.
Nope.
He had his heal, unfortunately.
Tryndamere did use a pot and his heal to survive there, so that was pretty good of him.
Purple team should be a little nervous. Jax is a hyper carry you cannot shut down. Once he gets his items, he's a hyper carry, period. I mean, a Tryndamere or a Nasus, you can stop them. You cannot stop a Jax. And a Jax with first blood.
Zyra just used her flash bottom. She got hooked by Trash, and that's pretty much it. She got hooked by Trash, and Sivir threw her boomerang blade. That did a lot of damage. She flashed out, and now she's out of it.
We did see Zyra land a double snare plant on Thresh with rooting him, and she did take him down to about a third health, but he drank potions. And the thing is, the longer laning phase goes on, the stronger Thresh gets. He is gobbling up souls, and Zyra has blown summoners. As soon as she gets hit, she's dead, and I'm very concerned about that.
Very good gank mid right there. Swain landed his snare no problems, and Zhao just jumped on him, and that was pretty flawless.
Another hook going in onto Zyra. The boomerang blade and flay comes through. The snare does go back down and a lot of damage coming out. The exhaust on AD carry and on support. Jax is in behind though, and he gets a little bit of damage on Xin now for the counter gank. If Xin was able to clean that up, it would have gone really, really well for them. Unfortunately though, just not enough health left from either side. No one really wants to risk it.
Right now, Xin needs to be farming the jungle, and he's playing very aggressively. He's ganking a lot. And his kit does lend itself well to ganking, but he needs the feral flare, and right now he's not very close to getting it.
It is worth noting, though, that killing jungle camps stacks up regardless of whether or not you've finished your lantern. So you can get lantern and already have, let's say, 15 or 20 stacks.
It doesn't stack on the razors, though, does it?
Yes.
Oh, it does? Okay.
You can have 0 items, and you could buy a Wriggles lantern right from nothing, and you'll already have the stacks.
That's good to know. So, Tryndamere pushes the Wukong out of lane on top. He's going to be shoving the tower, but Jax is coming around. Jax is actually just going to hold the tower. He's not going to try to come from behind. He's just going to hold the tower against Trend. And Trend is one of the biggest unstoppable forces in the game once he gets fed. So Jax is putting a lot of pressure on top lane, but it's not translating to very many tangible benefits. In that Wukong is still a kill behind in terms of gold. Jax got the 1 kill up there. Wukong just got the assist.
I also don't agree with his decision to fight Tryndamere there. He didn't have the kill potential, so instead I would have quickly cleared out the minions as best I could and then gone immediately back to farming. You've then saved the turret, you've applied pressure to the lane, but you're not going to be able to get that kill solo, so I don't see why he would waste his resources and time for that.
At this point, Swain is just bullying Zed out of lane.
Right, a lot of Swain's damage is conditional on landing the Never move, but Zed does not have the highest movement speed in the world, so I think he should not have too much of a problem consistently landing his combo.
And if his shadows are forced to dodge out of the snare, that leaves him very vulnerable. He doesn't have that gank escape, he doesn't have that aggression. It just leaves him in a very bad position.
Swain is also a champ where a lot of people don't know how he works. They simply don't see him in solo queue games.
So we see Tryndamere going for the static Shiv Rush. There's a lot of options on what you can build on Tryndamere. This would indicate to me that he does just kind of want to turn this into a farm lane, and that he's then going to translate into a split push monster come late game, rather than trying to constantly duel. I'm just going to rewind and see what set up the kill bot lane. I'm assuming it was just a Thresh hook. So I want to compliment Thresh, actually. He walks up instead of wasting his hook, and then is able to bait them in so that Sivir is not the one taking damage. As a support, if you are the one tanking damage and your AD carry is left free to attack the opponent, you're doing your job very, very well.
Right, both Varus and Zyra have no escapes, and that's really biting them in the butt right now. Jax sort of dancing around top. I'm not a big fan of what Jax is doing because he cannot win a 1 versus 2 or even survive it, and he's really wasting time right now. A jungler needs to be constantly doing stuff.
Yeah, I saw 3 misplays there.
First,
sorry, go ahead.
If you're spending more than 10 seconds sitting in a bush or setting something up, you are wasting your time.
I think that Jax just successfully stole Xin Zhao's red. Oh no, never mind. Okay, it hadn't respawned yet. Don't mind me.
Yeah, in the original fight top lane, Wukong activated his clone and walked away. He then immediately used ult after he'd escaped, as Jax was coming for the counter gank. that would have been an opportunity for him to re-engage and fight. But then once the ult was down, Jax still tried to fight. With Wukong's ult down, then you don't have the kill potential. So it was just both of the back and forth of, you've just used your cooldowns, but I'm still going to go in, but we can't fight because they're down. And so it's just a little bit of poor communication or awareness, depending on which side you want to look at it at. So I would like to see them talking a little bit more.
My past comment now is good. Jax just told Xin Zhao's red as he was holding the tower.
And that's great. If you can have someone apply pressure to a lane, draw their jungler, if that lane doesn't immediately need a gank, you may as well take away their entire jungle. And so that's what Jax is doing here.
So right now I'm a little concerned about Zyra's gold generation. She does have an ancient coin, and it looks like she's going for a sightstone. She only has 5 CS, she has no assists, and Thresh is picking up a lot of just constantly bullying her out of lane. So I'm not even sure how much gold she's generating. And she really needs her sightstone. She really needs boots, or she'll be struggling.
Looking at the gold generation, she has as much as Thresh. She's like 50 gold behind, so it might seem like she's not getting any, but apparently she's holding up alright.
That's good to know for sure.
A lot of that may be from masteries. Unfortunately, I can't view what they're running here. Sometimes I lol king them before the matches. It just takes a lot of time to work through 10 sets of runes and masteries, though.
So Xin Zhao switches his yellow trinket out for a red, giving purple team their only red trinket. Meanwhile, Swain is going for his Zhonya's, and he also has the Catalyst. So Swain's a character that struggles, and that he has so many amazing items that are all equally vital for his success. So he really needs to, if he's getting a Rod of Ages, he should have completed it earlier. If he's getting a Banshee's Veil, that's a good choice, but he might want to get the active on Zhonya's ready first, and so on.
Amazing hook coming out from Thresh. Varus actually flashed away and still got hit by the hook just based on how it was angled. I would hope that was planned, although you can always argue that it was luck. Either way, fantastic hook coming in. In terms of the actual build coming out from him, he's actually building exactly what I would suggest. And my reasoning is that Zed has his level 6 power spike, and you need to not be taken down by that combo. So he has the arm guard in order to get incredibly cheap gold efficient stats, but he doesn't actually have to finish the hourglass for that to be worth it. In the meantime, he has his... I can't see who stole the dragon, if he stole the dragon or not. No, Jax did secure the dragon. So it was covered by a champion panel. But yeah, he has the regen offered by Catalyst and can still work towards his Rod of Ages with safety because he has the armor to set it up.
I am curious to see how the next dragon pans out, as both teams have a timer. And I think that'll be a good judge of map awareness and timer awareness on both teams to see who goes for dragon and who ignores it.
For sure. Up top lane, we don't have a whole lot happening. They're trying to fight each other a little bit, but Trainemir has that little bit of sustain. He has lifesteal, he has his skills, and so every time Wukong tries to engage, he gets a little low, then heals right back up, and then does another trade, maybe loses a little bit, but there's just not any kill potential coming out.
Zed is making the most of Swain's roam bottom lane right now. He saw that his lane opponent was bottom. Swain was probably trying to get some damage on the bot tower with the help of his bottom lane, but the minion wave was just not working in his favor, and so Zed went in and took the mid tower to half health in one wave, so it was pretty good on him.
Swain almost goes down to a full Zed combo but survives. So right now Zed does not have his combo. Swain's sticking around. I do not agree with that. Swain is very low. He has no mana, so he can't even reliably crow farm up to health.
You see Jax actually sticking around. Zed has already used his ult and all of his summoners. He does have Bilgewater Cutlass up though, but in this sort of a fight, you can't kill Xin. Looks like he is going to go steal away the blue buff, but he did walk over a ward in the process. Swain's trying to come down. We'll see if he's able to do anything about this or not. No, Xin not quite in time. Zyra root coming in, very good. And now Zin's going to combo this down, and this kill goes over to Swain, so he does get his buffs back.
Swain, I don't mean to pick on him, but he goes TY for my blue. And I understand that this is a friendly environment and people will joke around, but text is a really hard medium to interpret. Please don't do any solo queue chat. Don't go LOL, I got thanks for the buffs, thanks for the leash, wow, I caught you out, hee hee hee. It's not necessary. This is a learning environment. Just please don't. So right now, purple team is sort of banking on Trendemir and Swain to carry them out. Bot is having trouble, especially now that Sivir is picking up what looks to be a double. Mid lane is losing to Swain. So really, those blue team is just in a pickle. And with Swain and purple team, or bleh, Swain and Trendemir on purple team, they really need to get team fighting potential and really come back from this bad laning phase.
I would like to point out the kill setup bot lane was mostly just Varus trying so hard to finish off Thresh. Thresh had already flashed back away, Sivir's standing in your face and killing you, and he tried to walk through Sivir well exhausted in order to try and pick up a kill. And as a result, Zyra had to stay and died as a result. I believe they could have taken down Varus as well if they cycled their cooldowns a little bit better, but regardless, that was just a poor play to set up that.
Purple team's turret has been destroyed.
Top tower goes down. There's nobody there to hold the lane or anything, so Jax and Wukong just go and grab the red once again.
I just want to fist bump Jax. Jax is everywhere on the map seemingly. He's ganking, he's stealing buffs, he's taking big minions. Not all of his plays are perfect, but he's really pulling off the right tactics of being a jungler with constant map pressure.
And we're just at about 17 minutes, and he's about to finish his Feral Flare. He's at 24 stacks right now. So that's going to be a huge amount of damage and sustain for him in these trades.
Cao has his Wriggles, he has his Warden's Mail. He's just not putting as much pressure on the map compared to Jax, and that may come back to bite his team later on. Meanwhile, Sivir is going for a Blade of the Ruined King, and I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a big fan of that because I think Bloodthirster is better on her. I don't think the Blade of the Ruined King is as important on her as it is on Vayne. I'm just not generally a fan. Well, I'm wondering what you guys think about it.
Sorry, I was answering questions in chat. Could you repeat the question?
Sivir is getting a Blade of the Ruined King for her first item. I think a Bloodthirster would be superior. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely Bloodthirster. I don't like Blade of the Ruined King on her. Yes, she's a sort of chase champion, but that's already filled by her passive and by her ult. She already has everything she needs to do to chase down champions and duel people, but Bloodthirster amplifies that strength. We see Xin coming down for a great counter gank. Thresh not able to pick up the kill, though. I was going to say that he might be able to pick up Varus, but not quite. Jax flashing in, able to land a stun. He may get a double or triple here. Sivir, with a speed boost, follows it up. Double, and looks like they're not going to go for the dive.
Blue team's turret has
Great job. Now, Dragon is up. They both have the timer on it, as we said earlier. Now, it looks like, no, they're going to go for the dive instead, which a very easy kill, so I do agree with that choice. After they take this tower, though, I want to see if they're going to go for a dragon or not.
Swain is swinging around. Jax tries to recall, but he doesn't quite have the timing down. And now Swain and Jax are dueling it out. Jax is at a disadvantage, so he decides to skedaddle. Swain's chasing him down. Zed decides to swing around and help his buddy out, and it looks like neither of them will get a kill. So right now, blue team has a really good opportunity, purple team has a good opportunity to converge on Dragon. Their opposite jungler is very low on health. They have Swain, who is around the area and very fed. So I would have liked to see possibly a Dragon, or at least dropping wards to prepare for Dragon coming out from them.
I want to point out what Thresh did there. He walked up to red buff and dropped the shield. So, quote unquote, I'm helping you. But also, he gets experience for it. So I actually really like that. It's like, well, I'm
And
helping you out,
assault.
but I'll take some experience for it.
The best supports are the ones where you can like put a shield on someone and get an assist despite not really helping at all. This is why Soraka is the best support. You can get assists all the way from the other side of the map.
Exactly.
I'm Soraka and I help.
Oh, Jarvan. Looks like Wukong. I'm not sure what his plans are here. He spent a lot of time in that bush, though. I would like to see him take away doubles if he's gonna be standing in their jungle. That's just time that could be used picking up a small advantage for yourself. Xin is coming top for the counter, though.
Wukong was not doing fantastic in the early game, but right now his ult and he's traveling around the map, picking up kills that way, and he's really catching up to Tryndamere and in fact exceeding him in gold. And that's not very good for Purple Team. Right now Swain is their great hope.
Good play by Blue Team. As soon as they saw Xin go top, yes, Wukong died. But he brought their jungler up there, so it gave them a free dragon. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but that's something you want to keep an eye out for. If they're sending people to one lane and you can't respond in time, take something else on the map. A kill, an assist, a tower, a dragon, a buff, something to make up for that loss. Ooh, great hook onto Swain.
That hook, goodness gracious. So right now, I'd like to address Varus' item build. He has a Zeal, a pickaxe, and a lifesteal scepter. Not a big fan of any of those. On Varus, on most marksmen right now, you want to get a BF sword item, be it Bloodthirster or Eye Edge, and you want to get the Vamp Scepter. You want to get the Vamp Scepter earlier on. The Zeal, the attack speed is nice as a second or third item, but as a first item, you are essentially a pea shooter. You attack real fast, but you don't do any damage, and that's unfortunate, even on an AD caster like Varus.
Yeah, generally the build order I've seen most success with right now is get your BF sword as soon as possible, then worry about lifesteal, upgrading it to Bloodthirster. Once you have Bloodthirster, you immediately want to go into Zeal, and then you can worry about Last Whisper.
That's the build that gets you the most success in both lane and team fights. Rushing a Zeal just is not worth it. Wukong putting a lot of pain down on Varus, pops his ult. Varus does a reactive ult, takes down Wukong. Excellent job on Varus for not panicking, for flashing away and throwing the ult instead of just going down. I know with the Tryndamere in my face, I would just pee my entire pants.
Oh, I'm not sure if that was a disconnect from Swain or what, but he just sort of stopped in lane and then got taken down for it. Hopefully we're not having more lag issues. Servers have been a little bit wonky today.
Although it is pretty incredible whenever there are server issues and some guy on Reddit is like, can't they just add more servers? This sounds really easy.
Oh, God.
And it's like, do you know how anything works ever?
Yeah, like, it frustrates me and I complain about it all the time, but, like, I do work for an ISP, I have a background in programming and computing, I kind of know that it's not something they can just fix in 2 seconds. It's not a, oh my god, throw money at the problem sort of an issue, usually.
I'm looking at the farm in on both teams right now, and I'm pretty impressed. The farm is pretty much even on everybody.
No one is really walking away with a free win just from farm. At this point, it's just going to boil down to who can synergize best as a team and who can sort of outplay their opponent. Both team has the opportunity to win team fights. They both have opportunities for dueling, split pushing, assassination. They all have relatively versatile team comps. It's just what style of play they want to go for and how well that can be communicated and organized as a team.
And right now, Swain has gone from being super effective and a monster to sort of hitting a mid-game slump. Once he gets his Zhonya's and once he gets his Spirit Visage, he'll be back in the game. But right now, he's sort of sitting in an uncomfortable middle ground between Mage and Tank.
Great 3-person ult coming in from Wukong. Xin knocks a lot of people back, though. And at this point, it's anyone's fight to win. Nope, it's blue team going to take everyone down.
Although Swain puts up great fight, just sending birds out at everyone's face, but Jax picks up the Quadra. Mother of God.
Yeah, Jax is doing a phenomenal job right now. Honestly, though, that fight could have gone either way. Xin, unfortunately, though, knocked everyone back and wasn't able to assassinate everyone. If Xin was able to, let's say, kill Sivir, and Swain was constantly doing his sort of drain and damage that he was putting out there, they could have easily pushed that in a different direction.
And here is where Swain not having Zhonya's really hurt him. He was putting down massive AoE damage, but he was able to be focused down. If he had had his Zhonya's, he would have been able to use the active and, if not survive, take at least a couple of people down with him.
It's not making a large difference, but I'm so used to seeing Swains with Ignite, and just the lack of kill potential sort of just makes me cry a little bit. I'm not saying that it would be a better choice, because heal is very, very good on him at the moment, but I keep expecting him to be able to secure these kills just that little bit easier.
Swain is just a champion who needs so many items, and they all seem equally important, like Zhonya, Spirit Visage, Rod of Ages,
Leandris.
Right, just all these items are so good on Swain, but they're all so expensive, and his last hitting is terrible.
Oh yeah, his farming is one of the saddest things I may have ever experienced. That's why, it's not that I ever get to play it, but Victor versus Swain is the most fun you can have as a Victor, because literally he tries to fight you, you drop your combo and he dies. He doesn't try to fight you, you push him into tower and he gets no farm. It's a team fight. Oh, well, I still win. It's just such a fun matchup.
And he's so slow, so you just drop a stun cage on him and he waddles out, and it's not enough.
Exactly. And I need to correct you there. Victor does not waddle, he swaggers.
Oh, no, Swain waddles.
Oh, sorry, Swain waddles, yes.
Although bidding at, like, home guards and boost 3 on Swain is funny, because he, like, turbo limps.
It is rather impressive. At this point, though, we're seeing blue team and just how far ahead they are, mostly this Jax. The wombo combo they have from just Wukong jumping in and ulting everyone on the enemy team is setting them so very far ahead. And Tryndamere does not have an answer for that right now. Tryndamere's use dueling and split pushing. His team fights are relatively bad, whereas Wukong is all up. I don't know why he's suiciding here. Okay, well, I'm not going to focus on that because that was just a weird play. I'm assuming he just wanted to die. I don't know. But Wukong is a team fight monster, but can also duel. So honestly, I think he's just a little bit more versatile in this sort of team.
So blue team is going for dragon again, and I believe that's 3 dragons for them. So I'm very impressed with their keeping timers, with staying on objectives. Right now, blue team is just sort of controlling the map like an octopus.
That's an
They're
interesting way to
everywhere.
describe it.
Well, they're everywhere they need to be, and also they're wiggly.
Okay. I will accept that answer.
Fair enough.
There was this octopus that, like, correctly guessed the World Cup winner for soccer in Europe, like, 8 times in a row, and then the losing team wanted to eat it.
That is so cruel, but kind of awesome.
Yeah, like, you'd put a nut down, and, like, the nut would have, or 2 nuts in the little aquarium, and each nut would have the logo of the team, and whichever team the octopus ate would win.
Huh.
And so the losing team was like, this octopus has cursed us with its magical powers, and we're gonna eat it.
Yulks is asking if the new jungler items is good enough. Can you solo Baron if you get it stacked high enough? Actually, most junglers can solo Baron at about 18 or 20 minutes now. Like, Master Yi can solo it at around 16, 17 minutes if he's ahead. Warwick can solo it right at 15 minutes if he has blue buff and has it finished. Like, you can solo Baron almost immediately, just yourself. It's so easy. Swain putting down a lot of damage.
Good snare on Wukong right there.
In the end, though, it's just not meaning much for them because, yes, you're getting a lot of damage down. Yes, you're doing a good combo, but it doesn't matter when you're only able to kill off one person. The rest of them are just pounding away with crazy amounts of damage.
I would really like to see that Zhonya's hourglass finished on Swain now.
And he just doesn't have the gold to do it, and that boils down to his lack of wave clear. It's not as though he can go to a lane and immediately clear it and go back to base.
Man, I am starting to wonder if Swain would be better as a top laner in today's meta in the same way that Ryze has re-emerged in that lane.
Oh, Swain top is quite good. or it can be good.
I'm also trying to make Lissandra top work.
Oh, Lissandra top was good for a while. I don't know. I don't think it works that well right now. Just because junglers are so strong and she pushes.
It's fine in lane because if you put E down early enough, but like fine is not really good enough for top lane right now.
Hmm.
Like making a middling line with your hand and going is not the way you want to describe a top lane performer. Blue team pushing down the Nexus towers. 3 members of purple team are up, now 4, and it looks like they're about to defend. But Jax jumps on Swain and is just putting down lots of hurt.
Jax is just a raid boss right now. He's a monster. There's nothing to keep him down, I think.
Yeah, as soon as you finish Blade of the Ruined King and Trinity Force, you can duel anyone, assuming you're not completely caught out and CC'd into the ground. He also has an incredible number of tanky stats and a finished Feral Flare. So at this point, he's just destroying anyone who shows up, and that is going to be the end of the game. We are giving away a $10 RP card now. This is valid on North American servers. If you are not on North America, I apologize, but we can only give cards to one servers. They are region locked. This is your final chance to enter. You just have to type workshop in chat, and you need to be following the channel. This is your final chance to enter. We're going to discuss picks and bans, and then I'm rolling the dice. So, do you guys have any opinions on overall team comps, what teams could have done better, and general item builds?
Purple team really needed to just... I say this nearly every workshop. When you are struggling in laning phase, you can prematurely end laning phase. You are not required by law to stay in lane until 20 minutes. Swain was 4-0, and he was really doing well in lane, but every other lane was struggling, essentially. If they had grouped up and made something happen while Tryndamere split pushed and was a distraction top lane, they may have fared better.
Mm-hmm. And I would have liked to see Tryndamere actually pulling off some split push. He kept trying to go save his team. Oh my god, there's a fight happening, I need to be there. Tryndamere is not good in team fights, especially when you're comparing him against Wukong. That is just not going to stack up in your favor. So I would have liked to see him constantly split pushing and applying map pressure. Assuming they do that properly, they can abuse numbers advantages to take objectives, set up kills, or take free towers. And I just that was a big complaint I had against how he was playing.
And I feel like we discussed item build problems during the stream. Sivir's Bork, Varus's Rushing Zeal, and so on. But do you have any notes about items?
It's a lot of damage on Sivir. She went Blade of the Ruined King and a Bloodthirster. It's fine, but it's just, wow, you were ahead. Yeah, no, I really don't have that many comments here besides what we said in the game.
For MVPs, I'm going to have to call a dual MVP for Blue Team. Both Jax and Thresh played their roles to nigh perfection. I cannot choose between them. They are both Blue Team's MVP.
They set up so much for their team, yes.
For Purple Team, I'm going to have to go with Swain. He did fall off mid-game, but that's sort of a fault of the champion and also possibly Rito's servers.
Oh, Rito servers.
But I'm going to have to call Swain as Purple Team MVP.
I agree.
Yeah, I would definitely agree.